everyone! Thanks for checking out another episode of Wonderful Garbage. Welcome. If this is your first time listening, thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. We're a couple months into this thing and it's been a lot of fun so far. So, new listeners, welcome. Thank you so much. OG listeners, like my mom and like 3 friends. Thanks for tuning in. Oh, we'll stop with the finger guns. I did that a lot last episode. My bad. Anywho, I hope you're having a good day wherever you are listening to this, or if your day is shitty, I hope it gets better by listening to me ramble about celebrity gossip, news, things that are going on this week, like the real important stuff, you know. So I went to the Call Her Daddy show last week here in Austin with a couple friends. It was so much fun. We had been wanting to go to the show for a while, so we were so excited to get tickets. It was such a good time. We did the whole pre-game meetup with some of the other daddy gangers. We went to this place called Swim Club in the Downright Hotel down in downtown Austin, and they basically converted their indoor pool and hot tub and lounge area into this bar restaurant, and they converted the indoor pool into like a dining area. So they have a bunch of tables and chairs, and then they have like outside seating and stuff too. But it was so much fun. We had such a good time. And then we went out to the show. It was down at Bass Concert Hall. And we got to see Kristin Cavallari. She was I probably said her last name weird, my bad. She was the special guest for the show, which, like, I couldn't even predict who it was going to be. My friends and I kept texting each other, like, who do you think the special guest is going to be? We were trying to think of people that had recently been interviewed on Call Her Daddy, and it was Kristin, and it was so much fun. And then she announced during the show that her and her boyfriend Mark had broken up, and like we all gasped when she announced it. It was like, oh, what? Like they literally just did a podcast together a couple weeks ago talking about their relationship. And because Alex was like, oh, Alex Cooper, she was, duh. She was like, I had a bunch of questions to ask you about your relationship with Mark. She's like, but then, she's telling Kristin, like, but then I found out during the show, or before the show, that you guys had broken up. And Kristin was like, yeah, it's coming out on my podcast next week. She's like, I am going to talk about it, but they did end up breaking up. So we, like, were shooketh to hear. I mean, a lot of people predicted it and were like, yeah, isn't it going to last long because the age gap? And, like, she has her kids and is doing her life. He's so young, which ultimately, yes, that was the reason Kristin said they broke up. She did say she's always been the one to break up in the relationship. She's never been broken up with. I was like, okay, flex. But yeah, no, it was a really good show. And then the musical guest was All Time Low. Never would have guessed that. But it was cool because one of the friends I went with, we used to go to Warped Tour back in the day, and we would go to shows at like Stubbs and Emos and all those places in downtown Austin, like when we were in high school. And so we've seen All Time Low before. We definitely saw them at Warped Tour. I feel like we saw them at Stubbs also back in the day. So that was really cool to see them because it had been a really long time. I was secretly hoping for like a Post Malone drop-in because he's a Texas boy. But then I figured if it was going to be Post Malone, he would have done the Dallas show over Austin. Anywho, it wasn't. I'm still manifesting to be able to see him at some point. But it was overall a really fun show, and everyone there was like a lot of fun and had a good time. But yeah, been living life lately. I'm going to see Usher next week. My millennial heart is so excited. I cannot freaking wait to see him. It's going to be a blast. I actually saw Missy Elliott and Ciara and Busta Rhymes Busta Rhymes, excuse me, a couple months ago when they came here to Austin, and oh my goodness, like everyone in the audience was millennial or older, as it should be. Everyone was up dancing. The energy was so much fun. And so I'm hoping Usher's going to be like that too. I'm pretty sure Usher's going to be like that too. Like, how can you not? He has so many bangers. I'm so excited. Anywho, living life lately and just really enjoying it. You don't give a shit. Maybe you do. I don't know. But let's just go ahead and get into our pop culture recap for this week. All right. This week's pop culture recap. Dang, I did the finger guns again. I'm so sorry, y'all. Also, if my skin's looking a little different, I accidentally put on my retinol serum instead of my moisturizer. I use the same brand. It's called the Inky List, and it's the same colored bottle for both. And I thought I grabbed my moisturizer, and then I was like start putting on like my makeup and stuff, and then it was my serum, my retinol, and so I have like barely any makeup on. Sorry, I have a TV right here that I look at myself sometimes to make sure I don't look crazy. A little makeup, a little eye mascara, some eyeliner, a little lip balm, but just don't zoom in. Because my face just has a bunch of serum on it. Anywho, okay, we have 2 celebrity weddings to discuss this week, y'all. Lana Del Rey, and Rebel Wilson. They did not marry each other, but they both had weddings. So, let's do Lana Del Rey's and her Bayou love journey that she's on, y'all. I'm sure you've seen it. Everyone's like, what the fuck's happening? But also this is on brand for her. Yeah. She married her boyfriend, Jeremy Dunfray. I'm so sorry. I butchered the shit out of that, and I really apologize. So we first learned about their relationship in the beginning of September. They attended a wedding together. Everyone's like, what the fuck's happening? Even his daughter, I think, like, texted him, right? You all probably saw the clips or the screenshots and was like, what are you doing, Dad? And he's like, oh, yeah, by the way, we're dating. But, yeah, they got married. They got a marriage license on the same day that they got married, which was, like, the last week in September. So, literally last week, I believe. And they got married in the town and in the area where Jeremy has his boat tour company. So Lana took a boat tour there back in 2019. And then she went back in earlier this year and maybe rekindled, or not rekindled, but kindled the love in that, or the interest in that second visit. But turns out her husband was engaged for 12 years prior to this relationship. And so his fiance's also come out and been like, what? Like, what's happening? He just like went and got married to this chick all of a sudden and not me? Congratulations. Love is wild. How you find love can be wild. And we wish them well, because everyone gets married at different times and different circumstances and ways, and like, who gives a shit, right? Like, who are we to judge? But I did see some comments that were like, OMG, this Breakup album is gonna be sick. But for now, congratulations, because it's super cool. Okay, Rebel Wilson also got married. She married her partner, Ramona Arguma, in Italy last weekend. They've been together since 2022. In an article from Entertainment Weekly, Rebel said that they started their relationship really old school. They talked on the phone for a while before meeting in person. And she called it like a really romantic way to start their relationship, like back in the day, being on the phone with someone, talking to them, staying up late. So she like really liked how they started their relationship. They got engaged and welcomed a baby via surrogate in 2023. And she says it's just a really good, healthy relationship. She feels like they are equal partners. She isn't trying to be somebody she's not. Like, she just really feels herself really comfortable, really relaxed in this relationship. So congratulations to them too. We love love. Okay. Speaking of love, we're going to talk a little bit more about the Kristin Cavallari breakup news. So she did speak about the breakup a little more on her podcast called Let's Be Honest. She said she ultimately broke up with him because it wouldn't work long term. The age gap, again, which everybody talked about and everyone gave her shit for, was ultimately the main thing. She just says he really needs to experience life. She's in her older 30s. He's like 24. But I did love what she said about what she's looking for and how she is in a relationship now. So she said, I don't need a man for anything other than just pure happiness. And I love that. Like, she supports herself and her family. She owns a house. She takes care of her kids. Her kids are good. She has businesses. She's so content and good on all that side of life that now, like, if she was to be in a relationship, it would just be solely to have a partner and to be happy. And I love that. She said emotionally he's able to step up to the plate, and he's shown up more for me than anyone else I ever dated. I was like, sounds like an old soul. You know how like older men always call girls, like if they're with girls younger, they're like, oh, well, she just had an old soul. I feel like it was almost like that, but Kristin wasn't being like ultra creepy and weird about it. She said like he was so great with her kids and she doesn't regret introducing him to her kids because they were able to see her really, really happy and in a good relationship. I am just really hoping they get a second chance at love. It's like the idea of you, right? Where like it didn't work out in the first place because of the age difference and like the guy needed to go experience more, and then they get back together later on once he's had more life experiences and things like that. So it sucks because like no matter what, she was getting shit about the relationship while they were in it. Now that they're broken up, people being like, duh, it wasn't going to work out. And it's just like, okay, let people live their relationships and how they want to be. I don't know. But I also do this podcast and talk shit about people, so that's probably just me being a hypocrite. Okay, let's talk about our favorite TV cop detective, OG, Olivia Benson. So Mariska was on Late Night with Seth Meyers the other night. They were talking about the show, talking about questions that she gets most. And she said the question that she gets the most from celebrities is that they want to play a dead body on Law and Order SVU. I was like, that's amazing. And Seth Meyers was like, oh, I wanted to be one too. He said he met some of the writers back in the day, like back in 2007, 2008, when there was a writer's strike going on. And he was like, oh, I would love to play a dead body. Let me know. I just want to like be there. They ended up writing a part for him and contacted him. And he was like, no, I'm good. Like I literally like just want to be a dead body. So he turned down that role. And then Mariska said the same thing happened with this super famous supermodel that she didn't say her name, but she said same thing. She came and was like, I want to play a dead body. They ended up writing her a role, and she was like, no, like, I don't want to speak. I don't want to say any lines. I just want to be a dead body on the show, which I thought was really, really funny. So then I started thinking about some of my favorite celebrities who have been on SVU. And actually the other day, I just watched the one with Hilary Duff, where she was accused of killing her baby, which her baby ended up dying from measles, but she said her baby was like up all night crying, couldn't figure out what was going on. She like spanked the baby really hard. It stopped crying. She went to bed, woke up the next day, the baby was dead. So she freaked out and she ended up like burying her baby in like a grave in a park. And yeah, that was a wild episode. James Vanderbeek, when he plays, like, he pretends to be the sperm donor of a bunch of girls who, like, he was like, yeah, I donated sperm to sperm bank, and like got really close to one of the girls. Hayden Panettiere, who, well, like, she was younger. Gosh, I really hope I said her last name right. Like, I'm kind of bad about that, my bad. She played a daughter of like a famous musician who was out on the road all the time. So she was raised by nannies a lot, and she just really strived, like really wanted attention. So she would like do things to hurt herself as a kid to get attention from people. And she really wanted attention from Olivia Benson. That was a really good episode. I also liked Jill Scott. She did a really good one where she played the sister of someone who was her daughter or her sister was disabled and had to end up taking care of her instead of like becoming a singer and an actress and being famous. And so she would like physically and emotionally abuse her sister, but her sister was nonverbal, so she couldn't say anything. Like, that was a crazy one. Sarah Hyland did a good one when she was a kid, and Cynthia Nixon. And then, of course, Robin Williams. Like, the one that Robin Williams did, I was looking up articles about it. It was like, it's one of the top-rated celebrity appearances on SVU. So, yeah, those are just, they're so good. Like, I just watch them all day while I'm working from home. Okay, Time came out with their 100 most influential people of 2024. So they have a couple different categories that they do. So they have artists, icons, titans, leaders, innovators, and pioneers. So some of my faves from this year's list are Dua Lipa, Coleman Domingo, Divine Joy Randolph, Fantasia, Asia Wilson, Maya Rudolph, America Ferrera, Taraji P. Henson, Elliot Page, Michael J. Fox. There's so many more people. Obviously, there's 100. But those were some of my favorite ones. So I looked up, because I didn't know how they were chosen, so it says that the finalists are chosen by the magazine editors themselves, but nominations are submitted by current writing staff and previous staff that used to write for Time, which I think is cool. People who have been a part of it, I think they said they've been doing this since the 1990s, 1998, 1999, I think. So it's cool that they take input from other people who, like, I'm currently writing on it, but were a part of it at some point. I thought that was cool. They also do a Time 100 Next, which is, like, the people who were big this year and they think are going to be really big in the future, really influential in the future. So on that list is Sabrina Carpenter, duh. Her, like, she's been all over our screens and music this year. Not mad at it, though. I love it. I love short and sweet. Jaylen Brown, Callie Reese from True Detective Night Country, Ashley Park, who's currently on Emily in Paris, Nicola Coolgan, who is our Lady Whistledown from Bridgerton, Alona Marr, the Olympic rugby player, and CJ Stroud, which is the Houston Texans quarterback. I thought that was really cool. I'll post links on our Instagram to both of those articles if you want to check out all of the people who made their lists. But I thought that was pretty cool. Okay, did y'all hear that Selling Sunset might be getting canceled? Ugh. But also, like, I understand. So season 8 came out on Netflix a couple months ago. I finally finished the new season. And yeah, like, I could see it getting canceled. So there are some cast members who are refusing to film a reunion and are even refusing to return to the show. One of them is like one of the main people on it, Chrishell. She posted on Instagram a couple weeks ago that she would not return if another one of their castmates, Nicole, returned. And she said she would rather be sued. Which I guess, I'm assuming they're in some sort of contract still. And she's just like, fuck it. I'm not filming with her. Like, we're done by... I think one of her other castmates, Chelsea, reposted it too and was like, yep, like, we're not filming anymore. So if you don't know what Selling Sunset is, it is a real estate reality TV show on Netflix. It's mostly drama versus actually selling houses. I will say this year there is a lot more focus on selling houses, or at least showing the houses. Because that's always been a criticism, is that they aren't really selling things. It's just a lot of drama. So if it does come back, I think there's a couple people who shouldn't return because they haven't really had house selling storylines. They're just more there for the drama, especially in past seasons. So like Emma and Nicole, they haven't really showcased them selling a lot of houses. Okay, so Nicole has been a part of this group. They're called the Oppenheim Group. It's ran by two twin brothers, Jason and Brett. So like Nicole's been a real estate agent with them for a long time. Emma's come in within the past couple of seasons, but they don't really show them selling houses a lot. It's just like we're at some showings, but we don't see them actually being realtors as much. I don't know if that's because there's not enough time to show that stuff and they want to showcase the drama more. If that's the case, okay, but like I honestly don't know what they sell. And then like Amanza, she this season focused a lot on her art versus selling houses. She had a health scare last year, so maybe it's like she's just focusing on what really brings her joy and passion versus selling houses. And if that's the case, I'm like, don't be on the show either. That's my 2 cents if they do come back. Okay, so 2 big storylines from this season of Selling Sunset. News of Chelsea, who's one of the real estate agents. There's rumors about her husband possibly cheating on her. And then an accusation of Emma having an affair with a married man. So both super damaging things, and that took up most of the drama this entire season. I'm going to dive into the drama real quick. So, the news of Chelsea's husband came on air when Bree, who is another cast member, another real estate agent, she brought a friend on camera who was like, she's ready to join the show. Apparently, she's someone that has been interviewing or talking with production for the past couple of years to join the show. So Bree brought her on for a scene, and she told Bree that Chelsea's husband was at the W Hotel kissing another girl. Her friend, Bree's friend's friend, saw this happen. Texted Bree's friend. Bree's friend texted her and said, hey, let's meet up. And Bree's friend's like showing her text messages of her friend being like, I think I'm seeing him. Like, yeah, he's like kissing another girl. There's no pics or anything. But we come to find out, which what makes this juicy and why I want to talk about it, we come to find out that this was already talked about before the season filmed. So, on the show, Bree ends up meeting with Chelsea to let her know what happened. And Chelsea acts very shocked and surprised. Like, what? Like, what's happening? What am I going to do? Bree did an interview with Entertainment Weekly a couple weeks ago and said all of this was found out last December, and they started filming this, or this scene kind of filmed in March. So back then when Bree found out, Bree called one of their friends, Emma, the one who's involved in the other drama, and said, hey, like, I don't know how to say this, but, like, I heard this stuff about Chelsea. Chelsea and I aren't that close. I just want you to, like, tell Chelsea this news and, like, what was going on. So, we back up a couple seasons. When Bree first joined the show, Chelsea gave her a lot of shit for Bree's relationship. So, Bree has a child with Nick Cannon, and Chelsea was totally judging that whole family dynamic. That's not how I hold my family. Like, that's not what I do. Which totally pissed Bree off, rightfully so. So Bree and Chelsea aren't friends. Bree finds out this information about Chelsea's husband. She doesn't feel like she can go to Chelsea about it, so she takes a detour and tells their mutual friend, Emma. Chelsea ends up calling Bree back then in December. They talk through the whole thing. Chelsea knows all the details. Bree was like, I just needed to tell you this information like woman to woman. I don't want it going around town. So now we're watching the show. Bree's telling Chelsea about it, and Chelsea is now pissed at Bree for the rest of the season. She's mad that it was brought up again on camera, and she feels that Bree set up this scene with her friend to bring her dirty laundry to light on TV. Bree says she didn't know her friend was going to bring it up on the show because they had already talked about it off the show. But then when her friend started talking about it, Bree was like, well, fuck, like now I got to go with it, right? Like we're filming a show. So that's all kind of messy, right? Chelsea also did an interview with Entertainment Tonight a couple weeks ago as well, maybe like 4 weeks ago. She was a little more reserved on the details of her husband and the cheating rumors. She did talk about the scene with Bree, though. She did say that she was aware of what was going to be talked about when it was filmed. She says she doesn't trust Bree, and she could have a line of people down Sunset Boulevard that also don't trust her, and that Bree has nothing to do with her marriage ending. So Chelsea has filed for divorce for her husband. They're not officially divorced yet. It's like I see both sides, you know? I can see Bree being annoyed with Chelsea and their other friends because of how they reacted to hearing the news on TV, even though they knew it months ago. But I could also see how Chelsea is pissed that her super personal life got brought up on TV. But also it's like you're filming a reality show. Like, didn't she know it was gonna come up? I don't know. It just makes me think, like, how much is actually produced in these shows and how much is going on behind the scenes that we don't know about, and like how much are they influenced to talk about certain things in a certain way. I don't know. I think I'm a little bit more on Bree's side with this though, just because initially back in December she made sure that Chelsea got the news through Emma, And then when Chelsea called her, told her all the details that she knew, right? And then when it came up on TV, Bree got a scene with Chelsea to let her know the news again. So I don't think Bree did anything malicious. I think Chelsea is just, again, like, really mad at the fact that Bree brings this girl onto the show, and then the first scene is the girl talking about this rumor on camera. But it sucks. Like, cheating stuff sucks, and it is still all authentic emotions, I think, especially on Chelsea's side. Like, now she has to relive it again when it had been, like, 3 or 4 months from initially hearing about it. And now she knows it's going to be on TV. I don't know. So yeah, like, if they come back for another season, I have, like, no idea. They both say that they're, like, done with each other. Like, no friends, no nothing. So it's like, well, how can you really film if you're not even going to be talking to each other? Like our Housewives do sometimes, right? It gets so divided that they can't come back together in a group setting, and then it just ruins the show, and then, like, you're done. So if this is going to be the last season, it would make sense, because who's really all going to be filming together? Okay, so the other drama, Nicole said that, so she brought up a rumor about one of their castmates, Emma, possibly having an affair with a married man. So Nicole actually tried to bring this up like 3 times throughout this season, and no one was taking the bait. No one was really interested. Like, Nicole would start to say something, and then the girls would be like, I'm not getting involved. Like, I'm not even going to respond to that. Like, no, we're not putting that rumor out there. Nicole actually ends up bringing it up to Bree in the season finale, which at this point, Bree and Emma don't have a friendship because Emma has taken Chelsea's side with the cheating thing about her husband. So Nicole was to Bree. So I think she was pretty calculated in doing that. And was like, hey, I got some news. She says her friend told her about this. Her friend actually confronted Emma in person and said, I think we have a friend in common. Nicole's like, I wouldn't trust her around my husband. But that's all we get about the rumor, because it really came more officially to light in the finale. And then I guess the producers were like, we're not even going to film any more of this. Like, we're done. So, like, we didn't get to hear Emma's side on the show. She doesn't know that this is being talked about behind her back, which is shady. So I would have liked if we had at least one more episode where Emma gets to like stand up for herself, you know? We do get a couple reality TV show crossovers in this season, though. So there was a developer who was on $1 Million Listing Los Angeles. That's another show on Bravo. She was showing her house to some of the realtors on that show, and then she pops up on Selling Sunset too, selling the same house, actually, which I thought was really funny. And then Michelle Lally, who's on The Valley, also on Bravo, she is in the finale showing a house to Chelsea. So we love a reality TV crossover. Also, so in the finale of Selling Sunset, Jason, one of the Oppenheim brothers, he was asked to sell Kanye West's house, that $57 million house that he had bought in Malibu. And it's like all concrete. It was done by this like really, really famous developer, which was like designer guy who like makes it really, really expensive. But Kanye totally ripped the house apart. Like, he took out all the HVAC in the house. He took out all the fixtures. He took out all the plumbing. So it's basically just a concrete building, but there's nothing functional. There's no windows. There's no doors, furniture, nothing. Like, it's completely gutted and just concrete. So Kanye was like, okay, I want you, Jason, to sell this house we're going to list it for $53 million. It's like, what? It's just concrete. It's just a building. And it doesn't even have a lot of land. Like, it's next to other houses. You don't have a lot of privacy. Jason actually ends up selling the house. This isn't on the show. It ends with Jason being like, I'm going to sell Kanye's house for $53 million. And all the real estate girlies are like, nah. Even his brother Brett's like, that's insane. There's no way you're going to get $53 million for this. So I looked it up, and he actually sold it. But he sold it for $21 million to a real estate investment company. So who knows what they're going to do with it. Kanye lost about $36 million on the property from like the selling price, or the price that he bought it to the selling price. So that was wild. I was like, oh my goodness, like, how are you going to sell this for $53 million? And then, yeah, it didn't happen. But $21 million, that's still pretty freaking crazy. Okay, the Golden Bachelor was this week. Well, it's on every week. But another episode was this week. I went back to the Dainty Dillo for their watch party. The weather was perfect. I'm hoping we're finally getting into fall here, because it's cool in the morning, and then it'll get like 90 degrees in the afternoon. But by the time the show came on, like around 7, the weather felt so cool. It felt so good. But what I love about the Dainty Dillo is they have a chalkboard set up, and they have all the Bachelorette contestant pictures on it. And then at the end of the episode, whoever doesn't get a rose and gets sent home, they go and they rip off the guy's picture on the chalkboard. So I loved that. So there were 2 one-on-one dates in this episode, and then 1 group date. So the first one-on-one date was Joan chose Pascal, who is the salon owner from Chicago, to go on a date with her. This is the one who does not do laundry, does not cook. There are other guys in the house who do his laundry for him. I think he took over like an entire closet for just his clothes. He knows he's high maintenance. Like he says, like, I'm high maintenance. I just don't know if he like really vibes with Joan, but he's there. So they end up going on a day trip to Las Vegas in a private jet. I was like, this is totally Pascal's language. Like, he is the bougie one on this trip, but like also they should have sent somebody else who like hasn't experienced Vegas like that. But anywho, they get to Vegas, they get into their hotel room, and there's a bunch of clothes for them to try on, and jewelry and wigs, and I was like, it's almost like a Pretty Woman moment type thing. But it was so cute. Like, Joan had so much fun trying on different outfits with him, and she tells us like she just loves how full of life he is and fun, and the energy that she brings. Like, that's just something that she does want and likes to experience. Like I said, I don't think they're like really for each other, but she just says like he has a really fun vibe, and that's what she wants to feel right now. Wayne Newton ends up surprising them in the hotel room and sings for them, and it's really cute. And they have a nice dinner, and they talk about what they're looking for in a relationship, and so that was really sweet. But back at the house, they cut to the guys taking naps all around the mansion. And a couple of the guys are like, we are so tired. Like, we are not getting any sleep because guys are snoring, or they're getting up to pee in the middle of the night, and it's waking everybody up because they're all in bunk beds. And I think it's really, really funny. So 2 of the guys, Charles and Gary, who are 2 of my faves, they end up going to a pharmacy to get sleep aids for the guys. Like, they're looking for melatonin, they're getting sleep masks, they get onesies for the other guys. And I just love these men so much. Like, there's not really drama. They're they're old and they're silly and I love it. So Joan's on her date. They're in Vegas. She does another one-on-one date with this guy named Jonathan. That one is in town. They go horseback riding, and then they ride up to like this little bench and they talk, and Jonathan like opens up about being vulnerable and how uncomfortable that makes him feel, and like not wanting to show his true self because he's scared, and he starts crying, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna cry with you. He said he got super nervous to go on the date just because like he wants to make a good impression and doesn't want it to go bad, or like he's just really nervous going on a date, right? He opens up about his divorce, and he says he was blindsided by it. He said, like, one day my wife woke me up and was like, we need to have a talk. I want a divorce. Which is like, yeah, maybe you were blindsided, but like, I don't know. I was talking to my friend who went with me to the Dainty Dilla to watch it. I was like, it would be so great to interview the ex-wives to see what went wrong in their marriages for those that are divorced. Like, a lot of them are widows, and then some have exes and things like that. So it's like, I want to hear from the ex-wives, and I want to know what the issues were. Like, what were the red flags? What did they need more in their relationships from these guys, and why didn't it work out? Maybe they just weren't compatible, but like, if there are red flags, I think Joan should know, because they're on this show, like, secluded, La La Land, everything's great. So, I don't know. I think it would be funny, because I want to know more about that. I want to know the ex-wife side. But back at the house, the guys are chilling. Some of them are still taking naps. But there is an ER doctor. He's one of the contestants. His name's Guy. And so Charles, our Charles, he was like, hey, Guy, I have a question. Like, I want to ask you. So Charles's wife had a brain aneurysm 6 years ago, and she died. And Charles was like, ever since she passed away, he's like, I've always wondered. So, like, his wife her mouth got bloody when, like, he didn't realize it. So they were out, she fell down, was unconscious. They went to the hospital. She ended up passing away. But he noticed that her mouth was bloody. And Charles was like, I've always wondered why. And I've been scared to ask, or I just don't know if I wanted to know. And Guy's like, well, yeah, she probably bit her tongue when she fell. And Charles just starts crying, and Guy is comforting him, and it is such a sweet and special moment. And Guy's like, you just, now you know, and hopefully, like, this experience helps you, like, continue to grieve, but also just, like, not worry about it anymore. And Charles was just like, thank you so much. Like, I've been wondering this. And it's just so sweet. Like, the regular Bachelor guys wouldn't be this nice to each other and comforting, which is why I love the Golden series, because they're just nice guys who want to find love. So the group date is a kickball game. And then the winners get to do an after party with Joan. And it's so funny. All the guys are stretching, and they're all super competitive playing. I think one pulled a muscle. One went diving for the ball so hard, he, like, rammed his shoulder into the ground. It looked painful. So yeah, they're kicking, they're running, they're throwing the balls pretty hard at each other to get each other out. And then Charles, he's a part of the group date, and he says he's never played kickball before, and he's so cute kicking the ball. He's like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And they're like, no, like, they're going to roll the ball to you and, like, kick it as hard as you can. And so he rolls it and he kicks it, and some of the other guys, I think they played it a little lighter, so they let Charles get to first base. It was so cute. I was like, protect Charles at all costs, and let's make him the next Golden Bachelor, because I would love that. Joan ends up getting the kickball guys massages after the game, and they are loving it. And then the after party is just Joan and them, the guys who won, hanging out, and they get to have some one-on-one time each with Joan and just talk about their experiences and what they're looking for and what they've really been excited about in this experience so far. So it's really cute. And then we get a rose ceremony, the dreaded rose ceremony. And Gary, who was last year's Golden Bachelor, which that was the season that Joan was on, someone who started this Golden franchise, he shows up to the rose ceremony, and he came on camera, like on screen, and a bunch of us were like, boo! Why are you here? Because Gary and the winner, Teresa, they got married and then they split 2 months later. So we're like, what the heck? This isn't supposed to happen with the Golden Bachelor, Bachelorette series. Like, y'all are supposed to be together. That's what was going to make this franchise, like, so much better than the other one. So he gets out of the car. Joan's outside. She's like, oh my goodness. And they hug and they talk. And he's asking her about her experience, how she's liking it so far. And then he asks her, like, do you even think your guy is here? And it's like, why would you even say that? Like, why are you putting that doubt in her mind? She obviously came on the show to find love. And what if she does find love? And now you're putting this shit in her head that her guy might not even be here? And Joan was like, yeah, I did think about that. She's like, but I'm here in this experience and I feel like I'm making connections with some of these men and I need to see that through, you know? So screw you, Gary. And Gary's like, okay, well, bye. It's like, wouldn't it have been funny if Gary came in and was like, hey guys, what's up? I'm gonna come chill with you guys for this rose ceremony. Plot twist, Joan gets to choose me if she wants, you know, some like bullshit like that. But he didn't come in, he just said his goodbyes outside and then went back, so cool. Kim, one of the contestants, came up with a song to sing to Joan. He did this while Joan was away on one of her one-on-ones, and they showed it earlier, but he's like, I'm gonna write a song. So he writes a song, and then he goes to the guys, and he's like, hey guys, I wrote a song for us to sing to Joan. And like, no one is into it. So he starts singing the song for them, and the guys are like looking around, and they're like, ugh. And then one of the guys, Gary, also named Gary, he was like, look, man, like, thank you for sharing that with us, but that's a song that you wrote for Joan. Like, we didn't write it for Joan. It's your perspective. Like, you should be the one to sing this to her. And Kim's kind of like, what? Like, no one wants to sing this with me? Like, I feel like Kim wanted this big production of a song and then to get the credit for singing it because he, like, really, really, really wants a one-on-one with Joan. He's been talking about it the past couple episodes. And so I think he was like, I need to do this big thing to get her attention and, like, make her think I'm a good person to, like, be with. He ends up singing it, and then Guy, who was the ER doctor who was talking with Charles about his wife's aneurysm, Guy ends up singing it with him, so that was really sweet. And plot twist, Kim got sent home, so that song did not work. Him and two other guys, Greg and CK, also got sent home. And Greg was the one, I think, who was doing Pascal's laundry, so Pascal might now need to learn how to do some laundry. Okay, so for a second, I didn't think that Charles was going to get a rose because, like, I don't think he's as compatible with Joan, and so I was really nervous for a second, and then he got a rose, and everyone at the bar cheered. It was so cute. But my friend was like, no, like, he has to stay on. Like, we need more Charles. But I just think this experience for Charles is more about starting to, like, open himself up again and putting himself out there. Not even, like, a relationship, but, like, just putting himself out there in life. Because he was like, my life just totally stopped when my wife died, and I'm having a really hard time living and, like, doing things without her. It was the only woman he's ever been with, and understandable, right? Like, how do you restart everything when your partner's gone? And so for Charles, I think this is so good for him to get him out of that comfort or discomfort that he's in and put himself out there. But we need Charles just on there forever and ever. I don't ever want him off of our screens. But yeah, so far, Golden Bachelorette's been fun. I've seen some people online being like, it's so cringy. Oh my goodness, why are they doing that? And it's like, oh my goodness, we have to shit on everything? Like, can't we just look at it for what it is? And it's like a fun dating reality show for older people. They don't have that. Let them have this, you know? Ooh, okay, we got some news today. The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives is officially coming back for a season 2, y'all. So, it's all over social media. All of the Mormon girlies have been posting, except for Jen and Whitney. Now, it's been a couple hours since I was on social media, so it could have totally changed. But as of 4 p.m. today, all of the other girls except Jen and Whitney have been posting about them coming back for season 2. I cannot freaking wait. So there's been some different videos. One that I saw, it was all of the girls, and then there was like a clip, like a screen, and it just had Jen's name and then ... And then it went back to the other girlies, and then they went to another screen. It said Whitney ... and then all the other girlies, and they wrapped up the clip. So I don't know what that means. Whitney's also like super duper pregnant, so maybe she's like could not make it to their announcement. I don't know. They got picked up for 20 more episodes. So this first season was only 8. So maybe they're going to do 2 seasons, 10 episodes apiece. That would work. I hope it's at least 10. Like, they give us some good... I like them. I think they give us good content. Filming starts soon. Next week, I think. And then we'll have season 2, they said, in the spring. Yay, y'all. I'm excited. Let's see what these Mormon ladies get into. Also, Netflix just announced, I was literally, like, going over my notes, and then I scrolled on Instagram real quick, and it was like, Netflix announced on Mean Girls Day, because today is October 3rd, or one of the Mean Girls days. So Netflix announced 2 new movies with 2 of our Mean Girlies. So Lindsay Lohan, who played Katie Heron, is going to be in a movie called Our Little Secret. And then Lacey Chabert, she played Gretchen Wieners. She's going to star in a movie called Hot Frosty. They're both holiday films, and they're going to be out in November. And I couldn't find any much else about, like, the plots and the other actors in the movie. They just announced that they were going to have these 2 new movies in November. I'm sure we're going to get more info. I will talk about it on here. Alrighty. That's all for our pop culture recap this week. Let's get into our Bravolebrity Breakdown. Right, y'all, let's get into our Bravolebrity Breakdown. If this is your first time listening to Wonderful Garbage, I'd like to do a little breakdown of Bravolebrity news. I keep it separate from our pop culture recap because I feel like they need their own section, their own recognition for all the wonderfulness and drama and chaotic energy may bring to TV. So I'm going to talk about some Bravolebrity news that happened this week. And I know there's like so much that happens daily. Same thing with the pop culture recap. You're probably like, there's like 1,000 other things you could have talked about. I get it. Those are the things that are near and dear to my little heart. Let's just get into it though. Okay. Brandi Glanville, y'all. If you are a Real Housewives of Beverly Hills fan, you've probably been following all the news surrounding her. Her lawyers dropped her as a client this week, which was huge. So, she put on social media earlier this week that her lawyers she's been working with in a lawsuit against Bravo have now dropped her. She said, am I allowed to effing ponder and wonder why the F after a year my lawyers dumped me? Not alleging anything. I gave them multiple chances to get off if they wanted to. So I wonder, were they paid off? Were they blackmailed? Was I used as bait and lied to and dumped? Ooh. So, let's take it back to 2023. Brandi was filming one of the Ultimate Girls Trips, which is a spin-off show on Bravo. Bravo started doing these Ultimate Girls Trip shows with housewives from different cities, like a lot of fan favorites, to bring them together. Genius idea, by the way. Like, so they brought people that are currently on shows, people that are old housewives and weren't on, or original housewives and weren't on. Like, it was a variety of women. It was so much fun. Well, for the most part, they were good. So she was filming one of these back in January 2023 when one of her co-stars accused her of touching her inappropriately, and the show has never aired. So that co-star ended up suing Bravo for alleged sexual harassment, but didn't actually sue Brandi, but sued Bravo for allowing that to happen or putting her in a situation allegedly where that occurred. So it totally stopped the show from airing. Then in February of 2023 as well, Brandi's attorney sent a letter to Shed Media, Warner Brothers, and NBC stating that Andy Cohen, who produces like all the Housewives shows and all the spin-offs and things like that, he does Watch What Happens Live, he does all the Housewives reunions, he's like Bravo Daddy. She accused Andy of sexually harassing her in a video that he sent her back in 2022. Andy commented and said that the video was an inappropriate joke. Andy was inebriated. Sent a video to Brandi when he was with another Bravolebrity, talking about like sexually explicit things. Brandi was like, he was my boss at the time, so it was really inappropriate for him to be acting this way towards me. As far as the accusation about her touching a co-star inappropriately for the Ultimate Girls Trip, Brandi is saying that she did not do anything inappropriate to the castmate. Brandi was also blaming Bravo for not being able to find work and for a lot of medical issues that she was having surrounding her ability to not work. All this information I got from Reality T, by the way. We don't know what's going to happen next, but the lawyers are no longer representing her, so I'm assuming that means her case is dropped. Some people are hoping that now the Ultimate Girls Trip will actually get to air. So we don't know what all's going to happen. People were really excited about this one because it was bringing back some fan favorites from the series. So along with Brandi, it was going to be Vicki Gunvalson from Real Housewives of Orange County, Phaedra Parks and Eva Marcel, who are both on Real Housewives of Atlanta. Camille Grammer-Meyer, who was on Beverly Hills along with Brandi. Caroline Manzo, who was on Real Housewives of New Jersey. Alex McCord from the Real Housewives of New York City. And I've been watching Old Roni. I'm in season 5. I'm about to start season 6. And oh my goodness, Alex was on 4. She wasn't on 5. But oh my goodness, I would love to see Alex now. Because her last season was wild. That trip to Morocco, she let all the girlies have it, especially Luann. And then Gretchen Rossi from the Real Housewives of Orange County. A lot of people have been wanting her back recently. Me included. She was also on it. So it's like a really good group. This might be my favorite casting for Ultimate Girls Trip that they've had so far. And just sucks that we haven't been able to see it. Yeah, we don't know what's going to happen, but Brandi is, I think Brandi's kind of freaking out about what's going to happen with her lawsuit and stuff. I don't know. I'm just assuming from what I saw on Twitter, she's very, very upset. So we hope she's okay. But yeah, her lawyers dropped her. All right, let's get into the Jackson Brittany of it all. So Jackson Brittany, they're from Vanderpump Rules, now on the Valley. Yesterday, Jax and Brittany went to court, and Jax agreed to give Brittany full legal and physical custody of their 3-year-old son. Jax decided to represent himself in court, and wow. The copies of the court documents he filled out are all over the internet. Here's a couple things that we all noticed on the court documents. He didn't select the checkbox requesting visitation for his son. He selected other in regards to child support and didn't give any other information surrounding child support. He also put a different date for their separation. He said it was September 26th, which was actually their divorce filing date, versus January 24th. Which was their actual separation date. So that was wrong, checking boxes. He also checked the box that said they weren't legally married, which sent everybody on social media last night. I was like, what? You mean that whole big ass wedding they had in Kentucky at the castle was not real? Brittany, her mom, and even Lance Bass, who was their officiant, which is still wild to me as an NSYNC girly. They all came out on social media and confirmed that they were actually married. Jax also has now come out and said he made a mistake and to give him an effing break. Jax and Brittany were married for about 5 years. I would just go back and watch Vanderpump to really understand them and him. But this made me think of him representing himself in court. Makes me think of delusional men. That's it. No, I'm just kidding. Makes me think of delusional men who think that they can land a plane if they were in an emergency. Have y'all seen that? There's a statistic, I want to say it's 54% of men, don't quote me on that, go look it up please, say that they think that they could land a plane if they were in an emergency. And it just made me laugh because Jax was probably yeah, I can represent myself in court. It's just filling out paperwork and giving Brittany everything she wants, whatever. And it's no. Obviously, it's a lot harder than that because you fucked up this paperwork so badly. And Brittany actually came out last night and was well, I guess paperwork is hard for some people. I LOL'd at that, y'all. Also, I need that on a shirt or a bumper sticker. Paperwork is hard for some people. It should be up at every DMV office. That should just be everywhere when you're filling out student aid, when you're getting student loans, just anything that has to deal with paperwork buying a house. Like, I need that slogan everywhere. Paperwork is hard for some people. I love it. But congratulations to Brittany for getting like full custody of her kid. And I hope he is doing okay with the whole separation and everything. But okay, on to some other Bravoleb news. Jenna Lyons from Real Housewives of New York was on Watch What Happens Live on Tuesday night. Watch What Happens Live is a nighttime show on Bravo hosted by Andy Cohen. He has Bravolebrities and celebrities on. It's Sunday through Thursday. They talk about different shows. It's fun. Real Housewives of New York also premiered this week. I'll be recapping that. That episode will be out on Sunday. Andy asked Jenna if she has made any wedding plans because she has gotten engaged since they last filmed. And she said, well, maybe I don't need to. Maybe I already did. And Andy's like, what? Audience was like, ah. And he's like, so did you? Like, did you get married? And Jenna's like, well, maybe. So congrats to Jenna and her partner, Cass. Maybe they are married. Maybe they're not. Maybe they don't need to get married. Who cares? But congratulations to them because we love love. Also, I don't know if we're gonna see Cass, her partner, on the show. We saw her mom in the premiere. But, like, I don't know if Cass is actually going to be filming. So, who knows? We'll see. One more thing I want to talk about in our Bravolebrity Breakdown is weight loss shame. A really fun topic. So, Heather Gay, who was on Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, has lost about 25 pounds. And she said she's been getting shamed about losing the weight. So she is on Ozempic and is getting shamed online about using the meds and all the weight that she's lost because she looks totally different now. She said in an article on Bravo, I feel the same. I feel like I liked myself then and I like myself now. It's just Ozempic becoming available and it just worked for me. She said that she felt the pressure to lose weight and she also added that she was disappointed by the reaction that she's received from others once she lost all the weight. She says, I was being valued by my castmates and by the public in a way that I've never been valued before. So now with all this weight loss, yes, she is getting shamed, but she's also getting praised too. And being more accepted by other people. And she was that felt really sad to me because why are they valuing me more now as a thinner person than who I was before? A tale as old as time, y'all. Heather even joked, actually, in a confessional in the premiere of this current season, a couple weeks ago. She was like, oh, look, one of my castmates is now being nice to me because I lost a bunch of weight. Because literally the first thing the castmate said to her when she saw her at the premiere party, their party that opened the season, she goes, oh, wow, Heather, you look skinny. And Heather's like, thanks, cool. Now this cast member is talking to me, and she hadn't talked to me really before. She didn't fuck with me before, but now she does because I'm skinny. I am not a fan of Heather as much, but I totally get what she's saying. We're also seeing this on the Real Housewives of Orange County with Emily. Emily's been on her weight loss journey for a couple of years, and she says that she just constantly struggles with her perception of herself compared to her castmates. And I know people online are like, we are so done hearing Emily talk about her weight loss and her struggles and how she feels about herself. And it's you can't, I get it. I get when someone goes on with something for too long, whatever it is, you're going to get annoyed at some point, right? So there was this recent episode where the Real Housewives of Orange County, they were all, all the women were in a fashion show, and Emily really struggled with the outfits that she was given, the sizing of the jeans, a dress that was given to her. Maybe it was the size of a dress, not the jeans. because Emily brought her own jeans, and then all the other ladies didn't bring their own jeans, and it made her feel like she was specifically told to bring her own jeans because they weren't going to have the sizing for her because she was bigger than everybody else. But whatever the size is, it's just how you feel about yourself. I struggle with weight issues. I've had my entire life. I totally get where they're coming from, which is why it doesn't bother me as much, because it is like a constant thing in your head. You think about it every day, you obsess about it. And I wouldn't expect these other housewives who haven't had this experience understand it at all. And I'm sure with Emily making it a thing for the past couple seasons, people are like annoyed by it in some way, which is really sad, because then I think that just like makes her work out more, and like maybe she shuts down about it, and it's like a whole mind fuck. Just like with anyone who obsesses with something about themselves, right? You get in your head about it way more than anybody else, and when you see people looking at you, that's all you think that they're looking at, right? They're looking at your chin, they're looking at your stomach, they're looking at your arms. Like, it's just like a constant, what are people staring at about me? Or at least for me it is. I can't imagine having to be on being on a TV show and just like constantly getting criticized for what you look like. So I do applaud both of them for talking about it, because it is really hard. Way to end this podcast on a positive note. But I did want to talk about it because we're seeing it on 2 different Housewives series, and I totally freaking get it. And I just wish people were kinder about that. You know, let's just like not talk about people's appearances, and let's not put so much value on being skinny or so much like pressure on it, which fuck, this has been an issue for like ever. I mean, I grew up like in the 90s, so that like heroin chic thing, the super low-rise jeans I could never wear. I was definitely a fan of gaucho pants because they were stretchy. I liked the ponchos because they were bigger. Anywho, it's just, you know, it sucks. But I do applaud Emily and Heather for talking about it, because I think it is something that's important. But yeah, that's my Bravolebrity Breakdown for this week. I know there's a lot more going on in the Bravo universe. I will be recapping. We have 3 Real Housewives shows this week. Potomac's premiering Sunday. I'm going to have to figure out how I'm going to recap that, because I don't get screeners because I am a nobody in the podcast land. But I will be recapping the New York Housewife premiere this week, Salt Lake City, and then this week's Orange County. And I'll have that episode out Sunday. Maybe I'll do a little extra episode for Potomac. I didn't watch last season's Potomac. I did watch the season before. That one has just been all over the place. I think I've said it on here before. But I do want to give it a chance. We'll see where it's at. But thank y'all for listening to Wonderful Garbage. I really appreciate it. Don't forget, please, to like the podcast, to comment, subscribe, Apple, YouTube, Spotify. You're listening to it on one of those channels, so thank you so much. Even if you just want to play it in the background, just get those streams, I would greatly appreciate it. Follow Wonderful Garbage on Instagram and TikTok and X to stay up to date on garbage gossip. And yeah, keep listening, keep tuning in. I really appreciate it, y'all. Have a good rest of your day. Have a good week. I was going to say something else, but I don't know what to say. Okay, we're just going to end it now. Okay, until next time. Bye, y'all.